All right, Kylie, thank you for the introduction and not reading out my bio. I appreciate that. I'm not going to use a microphone. It's a pretty small audience here, small but powerful, so it's just easy for me to talk. Can you hear me okay? Yep, you good? Yep, all good. All right, sweet. The presentation I'm giving you tonight is sort of related to what Kylie said, but I've gone experimental as all good scientists do, and I want to give you guys a few treats tonight and show you some stuff that hasn't been shown before as well, some insight into what we're actually doing at Cobots. So what I've been thinking about a lot recently, I've been doing a lot of swimming at lunchtime, working on my exercise. I've regained my health, haven't we, Tess? Yep. And I have lost, drum roll, that's enough, 14 kilos in the last 6 months or so. So yeah, so anyway, while I'm swimming, thanks, Kylie. While I'm swimming at lunchtime, I give a lot of thought, and I've been thinking about this statement actually, because I've got three young daughters, 9, 6, and 3, quite young, and I've been thinking about what is the impact of software on the planet today? Right, so you guys probably saw my book, Bots That Code, and it was pretty well received, but it's not really a bestseller or anything like that yet. Please still read it. It's got some really cool things in there, but it doesn't connect to what's happening on our planet today. That's the bit which is missing for me in the actual book. So we talk about how to continually modernize your legacy systems and all this type of thing, but it doesn't connect to what's happening right now. Especially, I look at what's happening around climate action and global warming and all that. As a younger man, I wasn't, I was immortal at that point in my life. As I've gotten wiser and older, I've been thinking a lot more about how we're doing this damage to the planet. And especially once you have children. Who's got children here? There's a few in the audience, yep. So you know that feeling, once you got kids, you're like, man, my time's going to be up soon and I'm leaving it for them. What am I actually leaving them? So I've been sort of trying to connect it. So what you'll hear tonight is not a very well-connected story because it's very early on in my thinking of what this is, but I wanted to present it to you guys tonight, especially to get some feedback from you guys also. All right, so the title of the slide is, of the presentation is, can we minimize the waste of legacy systems with bots that code? All right, I have seen this so many times within organizations that I work with around the thing that's holding back these organizations is their software. So you hear about people that have got great ideas, but they can't implement them. You hear about, oh, thank you. Put that up there. You hear about these legacy systems that don't connect to other systems. You hear all these problems that actually come out of legacy systems, and common to every business. So Alan and I were just chatting before the presentation, and I was hearing about his IT systems and things that they're going on within their business. Now, every business has got IT systems of some description, right? Who here pays a monthly subscription for some product online? Who pays a monthly subscription for something? Yep. So what's your monthly subscription you're thinking of?
Like newspapers.
Yeah, newspapers, yep. Who else got? Alan, what do you pay for?
I don't.
You don't? Okay, no worries. What do you pay for? Netflix, yeah, of course we do. I got Disney Plus, but my mate's paying for that, but I got his login. Yeah, sneaky. What are you guys paying for?
Prime Video.
Prime, yeah, that's another good one. Yeah. So we're all playing these things and we're all using these actual systems. So what we're going to do, can everyone pull out their mobile phones? Right. Now, pull out your mobile phone, grab your browser. Where I want you to go to is menti.com on your phone. Right. And then you get to the homepage of menti.com and you put in this code here, 330916. Yep. And then throughout the presentation, I've got 4 questions. This is the first one, which I'm going to get everyone to do. So do you have legacy systems in your organisation? Your place of work is probably the best place to think about. Do you have legacy systems in there? Do you have old databases? Have you got a CRM? Are you using accounting software? Just are you actually using legacy systems? All right, so one person doesn't have legacy systems. Thank you. Just make the stats look real. All right, okay, so I think we can see that the overwhelming thing is we've all got legacy systems in our organisation. Now, I want to share something with you that was on the news last week. Okay, so I just copied this off I saw this on the News 24 channel, and I copied this off the ABC News website just for you guys to have a look at. So this is a really interesting case. So mum over here, of course, being a dad, I was like, okay, poor mum here. I know what she's going through. One of her kids, I think the younger one, is they're both vaccinated, right? But Centrelink only has one of the kids recorded as being vaccinated. So what's happening to her is she's only receiving half of what payment she should be getting from Centrelink, and she can no longer afford, on her single mum salary, I believe, to put both of the children in daycare. And now she can't put the kids in daycare, she can't go to work, and it's a really big problem for her. Now, interestingly, there is an Australian immunisation register that sits within the same government department that she can look up that tells her that both kids have been immunised, right? So within this one organisation, there's one system that says, yep, and then there's another system that's like this, okay? Now this is having a real impact. Can you imagine how stressful that'd be for her? That'd be horrible. So when I see things like that, my IT brain just kicks in and I just like, oh man, they just got to get those systems talking to each other somehow. It's super important. And there's lots of different reasons why and how legacy can actually have an impact. So what we're going to do next, okay, thinking of that legacy system, that one that you hit the yes for, how much of an impact is it having on your business or your organisation? Oh, someone hates one of them extremely. Interesting. Four. What's that, Tess? A couple more? Oh, down. Excellent. I think we're pretty close. It's very interesting to see that. Thank you again for the person that wrote not at all to make the stats look real. But basically we're saying that legacy system is having the vast majority of people are saying it's moderate, very, or having an extreme impact on that actual organisation. Okay, so now we know we've got legacy systems. Now we know how much the legacy systems are impacting the business. All right, so how can a legacy system actually impact a business? What are some of the things that can go wrong? What are some of the things can go wrong? I'm throwing this out to everyone here. Think about it. Okay, when you've got a legacy system in an organisation, if that legacy system is there, how is the impact going to have? It looks like Richard's got an answer.
Well, yes, I mean, from reality, from real experience, one of the big government departments here has a legacy system that the vendor no longer supports. And they're critically reliant on this legacy system.
Yep.
So what can go wrong? Turmoil, I guess, is because they just can't get it supported. And
Yep.
Flowing on from that, the technical people that know how to maintain it are in short supply.
Totally. Yep. So who knows about this legacy system? Yep. It's a very good example. Thank you. Got any others? Like, what are some other impacts? Even if you want to think about that example I had up there earlier, what are some other impacts? So we've got, it's going to have an impact on probably staff morale.
Absolutely.
Yep. Training, costs for the business. Yep. All these other things.
Cost for the business is a big thing.
Yep.
We're having some issues with some older systems, and it's causing a lot of costs in extra staff staff taking a lot longer to do things.
Productivity, you got to copy this bit and you got to put it over here, and you're doing Control C, Control V a lot probably, and
move things out of spreadsheets into the CRM and things like that.
Yep.
And even following on from that, another legacy system, from this very example, that's actually a critical safety issue that people can die from.
Yes.
Because
Gets serious, doesn't it?
it does. It
Yeah.
really does.
It does. In my previous role, we had a very old legacy system that wasn't maintained, and it was monitoring panic alarms, and people could literally die if the panic alarm didn't work and they didn't get the emergency care they needed.
Totally. And thinking about the security threats as well of legacy systems in a world where cybersecurity is so very important as well. So what I want you to do next, thank you for those responses. This one's quite a little bit longer, but thinking of that legacy system we were talking about before, just quickly read through these responses. It's just multiple choice. If you believe that statement has an effect on that, just click it and just go down the list. It'll take a couple of minutes for you to read down there. I know there's a long list. I actually tried to cull this list a little bit, but I couldn't. I was like, man, all these actually. Almost there. Isn't that interesting to see, that wide variety? Like you guys interesting. That one jumped up. So what number one is the need for special skills. Second place is slow, crashing, poorly performing. Yep, that makes sense. And what we got a tie for third there. Yep. Yeah, this one's actually one of my biggest bugbears. People are unable to change business processes. I actually believe that legacy systems are one of the reasons that if there's any government people here, I love you and I do a lot of work for government, but these legacy systems I think contribute to government culture. They can't actually change anything, so they feel just, totally disabled in what they actually want to do. Security threats. Yep, it's a big one in the modern era, and hidden operating costs and loss of business, of course. Thank you for filling that one out. All right, so what is Cobots? What we're going to do is we're going to do a live demo, which is going to be fun. I think that'll be fine. My techies don't build legacy systems. Yes, they do. what we're going to do is we're going to do a live demo, and I'm going to modernize a legacy system for you, and then I'm going to show you how that legacy system actually looks. Right, so for those who haven't heard of Cobots before, it's pretty easy to remember what Cobots do because I just reverse the name. I just say they're bots that code. So they're software robots that write code. When they write the code, then you can get to use it, and you're going to see this in a live demo up here. Super cool. And we've done heaps of modernisation projects. I'm talking Department of Defence, Transport Main Roads, New South Wales Police. The list goes on. So we're helping out lots of organisations at the moment with this legacy problem. Right, so this is Cobots itself. I'm not going to do the full tour, but basically I click this button here to create a new application. And this is the process to create a new application. All right, in this scenario, I'm going to modernise a dealer management system. This is like a system that car dealerships use. So the first thing you do, there's 4 steps to getting your project going. So the first one is to just basically fill out the name, so dealer management system. Has anyone ever worked in the car industry before? Damn it. This is something very common in the car industry. Okay, so the next thing you do is you choose your bot in step 2. So there's 2 bots available at this point in time on the platform. The top bot there is Spring and Angular. So if your team understands the Java programming language, that's more than likely the bot for you. And the second bot down the bottom here is a C# React bot, which is like your .NET or your Microsoft stack. So if your organization's in the Microsoft world, you'd choose that second one down there. Once you've chosen, so that'll be the target technology stack the bot writes to. At this point, you can have 2 options. You can do a new custom app, or you can go from a legacy migration. So I'm going to go down the legacy migration. We've completely automated, sorry, I shouldn't say completely. We have automated the process of getting off old Access databases. So believe it or not, in fact, if you've worked in any of these medium to large organisations, there's Access databases absolutely everywhere. It's a real scourge of legacy. Yep, Alan's nodding. You use a few Access databases yourself, do you?
Try not to.
Yep. Or if you've got a different database, just click on it there, submit it to my team, and they'll run it through our scripts to do it for you. But the Microsoft Access database one is completely automated. You grab your old database. So I've got an old database here. This is the car dealership one. Drop it on here. Now at this point in time, the bot is analysing the database and starting the legacy migration project. So what we want to do is we want to go from the old database across to a new full stack application, right from, for the techies in the audience, right down from the lower tiers, the database tiers, all the way up to the user interface. So the bots write full stack. So Hazar has done the actual process. The next thing to do, this is an important step, is in the software world, we use a thing called a code repository. So what a code repository is techies, what we do is we push and pull code from a code repository. The most well-used one today is called Git. It's a very common code repository. So you can use our shared Git repository or configure the bot to write into your own repository. So you can own your source code from the beginning, which is completely different to any of our competitors. So we'll use a shared Git repo, just easy to set up. Okay, so that's it. I hit the finish, and now the bot's going away and setting up the project. This process of setting up the project here, this typically, or traditionally I should say, would usually take developers about a week to do. Now we've just done it in this automated process at the beginning. Now what the actual bots do at this point in time, so I'll just hit go to the app build in here. What they've done here is they've created the first diagram. Now this diagram here, the projector's interesting there, Tess. So this diagram here is your database schema. You can see here, here's a service mechanic, here's a service ticket, here's some parts. Where's the car? There'll be a car around here somewhere. There's a salesperson here. Where is it? Oh yeah, there's the car, make, model, color, year. Is that too small? I'll zoom in a little bit. So there's the car there, the make, the model, the color, the year. These, for developers, these lines between what we call entities are super important. This is your data model of the application. Who here has designed a database schema before? Cool, a few people. Very common. If you're interested in building software, you need to learn how to do an entity diagram. It doesn't matter where you sit in the business. It's super important to understand. So what I'll do is I'll just clean it up a little bit. Now, so you got your entity diagram, your user interface diagram, and your security diagram. All very important. Now, in the user interface diagram, you can add pages. So I'll just add a home page here. In fact, I'll call it cars, and cars. And then on that page, I'm going to put what's called a tile. And the tile is basically delivers functionality onto a page. This tile's a CRUD tile, which is an acronym for create, read, update, delete. A CRUD tile is your basic data administration. A lot of any apps that you guys will build or want to do, you want to administer the data inside the database. So this one does that. So, car. So now I've created a page with a CRUD tile for the car. Over here, say again. Thank you, Tess. Tess is our education lead. She's still educating me. What I'll do over here, this legacy, this salesperson here, you don't need the first name and surname. I'm going to create, if you look here on this security diagram, we've only got visitors have access here. We want the salesperson to have access, so create a user behavior on there. So now that salesperson, salespeople can log on to the system, and there is, I wanted to do mechanics as well. Where's it out? There's a mechanic here. So I want my mechanics to log on to this system as well. So I'll give them the user behavior also. Now in the security model, you can see now we've got mechanic and we've got salespeople. And now this is, I don't tell a lie, I've made sales on Cobots based on this diagram alone. You can see across the top here, you got create, read, update, delete, the CRUD acronym again. So what we're going to do is we're going to give access, the mechanic can access all of those entities and pages. So we're giving full access to the mechanic and to the salesperson. But I don't want the mechanic to be able to access the salespeople's information. And I also don't want the mechanic to be able to delete a sales invoice. So this is so cool because when, on a technical level, all operations on data follow this format, CRUD, create, read, update, delete. It's something you teach students very early on. And this is actually how, who's heard the term like an API endpoint, let's API with this accounting system over here or something like that. So this is like saying your API. So if you're authenticated as a mechanic, you are not allowed to delete a sales invoice. So it's very cool. And this, as far as cybersecurity goes, this is beautiful. All right, so basically you're configuring your entity diagram, like your database schema, your user interface, and then your security diagram. Once you're happy with those, you hit the build button here, and this is where you're going to see the bots actually write some code. Now this is a new project, so it takes a little bit longer. The second and third time you run it, it gets faster. But what you'll see shortly is the bots actually writing some code. Right? A lot of places you go to, so subscriptions you pay for online, you will never get access to your source code, so you're actually locked into the vendor. Now, when the bots write source code, this code looks like a developer's written it. All right. Now, traditionally in the software engineering world, they use code generators, which creates a black box of mess. So as a developer, you lift up what the code generator's done and you're like, I can't understand that. It's a black box, it's useless. So this is the bots actually writing the code now. This is happening real time up in the cloud. Each one of the nodes on this graph is actually a file in the source code tree itself. The orange ready section on that side there is the server-side code, and the yellowy section on this side over here is the client-side code. So we'll just let the bot continue and finish off here. So back to my story. So when the bots actually write the code, what they write is what we call developer-friendly code. Okay, so the bot writes to the Git repository, and then your developers can then pull down from that Git repository and use that code as they need to. Yep, this is super important. If you're not a techie or a business owner or something like that, just trust me on this one. It's something which will change the game for you. There we go. Finish that time. Well done, Springbot. Thank you. So if we look at the stats, that bot wrote 134,000 lines of code. To give you an idea, when a developer is having a good day, they probably write between 500 and 1,000 lines of code. So there's lots of efficiencies in there. Not only is it the world's best progress bar, you can actually use it as a, I'll just move around here slightly, grab a good one. This is all built in 3D. We had awesome fun doing this. So I click on this, and this is the actual source code repository. You can click through here. So this is committed up to the source code repository. And as you can see here, the code is human readable. And for the techies in the audience, see these protected regions here? All you need to do is write your code inside those protected regions, and that's how we get the bots and the humans working together. Yep. Then the next time the bots write the code, they won't touch what you wrote inside the protected regions, which is great. Now, what you do is to run it locally. So you've got the source code, Richard, it's your source code, deploy it wherever you want. I haven't gone into automated deployment up into the cloud. I haven't got enough funding for that yet. Maybe later, but our customers really love owning their source code. A lot of government customers and different ones want to do their own on-prem deployment as well, so it's quite flexible in that sense. All right, thank you, Springbot. Now, what I'm going to do quickly is I'm going to switch over to show you another one I've been working on. This one here, who here has used a CRM before, a customer relationship management software? Yep, CRMs, yep. If you're anywhere near a startup or in a business or something like that, you must have a CRM. So I've got a CRM here. CRMs can be expensive. Super expensive. If you've ever looked at the prices of Salesforce and different ones like this, so I've got a CRM here. When I look inside the CRM, the entity diagram, you see we've got a deal, we've got a stage the deal is in, we've got the organizations the deals belong to, we've got the pipe in CRM land, everything moves through stages. Sort of think of it like a Trello board. Who's used Trello? Like a Canva? Yeah, think of it like a Trello board. Yep. So that's in there. I've set up a user interface with all the things in here. I've set up my security model, everything here, and also hired out a developer to do a bit of custom code for me because I don't have time to write code these days. And what I want to do is I want to show you guys the result. So over here, I'm just flicking over to terminal, so command line. I'm a bit old school. So from here, for all the techies in the audience, you can just do what's called a git pull, and you can just pull the code down locally and then run it. So we use another technology called Docker, and that allows you to run the application locally, but you're free to deploy it anywhere you want. So I've got Docker running over here already. So what does our CRM application look like? So what does the target application look like? So here it is here. What we can do is I will log out. And I'll log in. Admin. So full stack application here. So you'll notice this looks very, what's the word I'd say? It's very wireframey, it's very black and white. There's no real styles in this. That's the way the bot's write. Okay, so when you take this, you can customize the styles to meet your company's branding. So this is what it looks like coming straight out. Now that CRUD tile that you saw before, if I click on organizations, here's your CRUD. So that organization now, I can create a new organization, I can edit, I can view, I can delete, I can do all those things to an actual organization. Same with contacts. I got all my contacts, I got all my activities, I got all of my deals within this. Now, as far as the CRM goes, that we're almost there for Salesforce. We're replacing Salesforce at this point in time. We need some dashboards and stuff. So what I did is I got someone to do me a little Trello board. Now, if I look inside here, here's my Trello board. So in a CRM, everything goes through stages. So sign up has a stage, download, access, license, and then the deals can flow through these stages. So you can just grab these things and move them around like this, and whatever you need to do, create new deals, so forth and so forth. So that is cool. Now, I hired a young techie. He was, I think he was less than has Toby graduated? No, he graduates in, no, he graduates in the middle of this year. Yep, at the end of this semester. Yep. I got him to help me out with this. He's done about 2 weeks worth of work on this, and we've almost replaced most of the CRMs across the planet today. So, and that is cool, right? So it's powerful sort of stuff. So I just wanted to show you quickly what a target application looks like. There's a heap more in there, but I think you guys get the idea. Okay, so the bots write the code, commit it up to Git, you pull it down from Git, and then you can use it however you need to use it. Right, is there any, I know that's very shotgun. Are there any questions? There's a whole really cool plan section in here where you can plan out your iterations. There's a test section in here, one of my favorite sections, where, has anyone ever used the programming language Scratch, the one we use to teach children? Yep, so Scratch, it's like Lego. You can click your tests together. I navigate to the login and I enter this information. I wait for that. I click on this element. So then these tests become regression tests. The really cool thing from there is you can then, Toby hasn't done this yet, but you can line those tests up to get what's in the plan, and now you're looking at coverage. There's a library over here and an academy, which is where Tess spends a lot of her effort. And the library is like a knowledge base, really advanced stuff. And an academy is, we've got all these bunch of qualifications in here where you can learn about Cobots. So you can do Cobots 101, it'll show you how to build it up. You can get your techies to do qualifications, all sorts of cool things in there. All right. I'm going to stop on the demo bit of it. Is there anything you guys wanted me to dive into deeper on the demo? It's a lot to take in, isn't it? It's like, whoa, Eban. Yes?
I got lots of questions.
Yeah, good.
So the first thing to clarify, once the bots have access to the database, they figure out the relationships between the entities? Yeah, based on what?
Say again?
So how do they figure out?
Oh, just the foreign keys. Yeah, just the foreign keys, yeah.
And secondly, I'm very interested in learning or hearing more about the customization part.
Yes,
Because
yep.
even though we can define CRUD pages or access, sometimes based on different relationships, you might want
the API by default returns something different. So say, for example, mechanics and sales, you might not want all the sales person to appear when that mechanic logs in and have a get requests. So where do I do those kind of customizations?
Yeah, cool. So you'll just do those. Are you a software engineer?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. All right. So you go to, you jump into the academy over here. Yep. And what's your main language? Your Java, .NET?
No, I'm PHP.
Oh, we love PHP. We've got a PHP bot, but it's not available on the platform yet. So let's just go with, I think you'd be comfortable with Java probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, we love PHP as well. Okay, so this is the qualification. So basically what the qualification does is it takes you through from the server side up to your client side to your testing to your styling. So it shows you how to customize like a custom SQL statement down in the lower tiers, some custom business logic, shows you how to do a custom RESTful endpoint, uses GraphQL, which is the technology that comes out of Facebook. So you can use that to get custom queries as well through the actual endpoints itself. Everything that the bots write looks like a developer has written it. So there's nothing in the actual target application that is Cobots specific at all. Yep, so what we do is we show you how to customize on each level, depending, do you want to do a custom scheduled job or cron job? Do you want to do a custom business logic? Do you want to do a custom part of a user interface? Yep, because you own the source code and the bots have written the code and you can understand it, you're free to customize it any way that you wish. Yeah, and one of my motivations for going back and doing my doctorate and coming up with this was at any point I want to be able to push the bots out of the way and just be able to write the code. But I want to use the bots to do all the work for me that I know is regular work. But when it comes to the true complexity, the true creativity of what I want to do, get out of the way, Mr. Bot, and then I'll work on it myself. And that's how you get that split. So on average, you get about 92% written by a bot and about 8% written by a human.
And this is probably getting a bit specific, do I modify in the class myself?
Yep.
In the safe regions?
That's it.
Within the ones that you said the bots will ignore and not overwrite?
That's it.
Stuff?
Yeah, so just inside a protected region. So what the guys do is they just basically put these protected regions in the bits that we know that you're going to want to extend the code. And if there's not a protected region there, this is my favorite bit. You ready? This is awesome. You go submit feedback and you can tell us, can you put a protected region here? And then we'll put one there for you. But they're pretty much in all the spots you'll want them. And then there's ways, probably the big one worth pointing out for you as well. In the UI diagram, there's a custom tile. So you got these custom tiles here, and a custom tile is pretty much a blank canvas for you to do whatever you want as part of the user experience.
So would you say that if I switch to Codebots, it supports full flexibility in terms of customization, and because I can leverage the bots to build the code that is kind of mundane, boring, and then I can add in my customizer. Would you say that it supports full flexibility?
Yep, totally. Yeah, what's the lowest percentage we've ever had for a Cobots written? I think it was like 85% bot written, 84% bot written was the lowest one we've ever seen. Yeah, so the highest one was 99 point something. It was almost all bot written. Yeah, so you get that. It depends on the actual app you're building, and the thing you want to learn about is what are the behaviors, and I'll talk to you about that afterwards. The behaviors are really cool. No worries. You're asking all the right questions. Yeah. All right. Any other questions on that? Who loves the fireworks? Me. That's the little shh going off. Best progress bar in history. Okay, we're almost to the end, so we've had a look at that. Right, so how can we make an impact? Right. Have you guys heard of this one, the Sustainable Development Goals? Yep. So this is something I'd sort of heard of, but I hadn't. And my co-founder Indy went over to this big conference over in Munich, and she went to the World Economic Forum as well. This was at the beginning of this year, and she came back totally energized from the whole thing, and I loved it because we, as a company, last year we set ourselves a goal this year on number 13. I didn't know this was number 13. We basically said, let's try and make our company carbon neutral by the end of 2020. So it's something that we're doing together as a company, and we're trying to work out what does that actually mean. It's harder than you think. So she came back saying, hey, Eban, check out these SDGs. Sustainable Development Goals, they say SDG as the acronym, and this is what the United Nations puts out, and this is what people should be working towards across the planet. So if you want to be a good citizen, a good global citizen, and you want to contribute, these are where they want you to sort of look. Like I said, climate action number 13 is super cool. I love this one, number 14, life below the water. That's cool. That's very pertinent in Queensland, isn't it? With our reef and everything going on up there. What else we got there? Responsible consumption and production. Has anyone seen those big warehouses down in Victoria at the moment with all the rubbish in there? Have you guys seen those pictures on the news? It's pretty crazy, just like warehouse after warehouse, just almost full to the ceiling with rubbish because they can't recycle. You seen that, Kylie?
Yeah, no one wants the rubbish.
No one wants the rubbish. Yeah. Anyway, that's a good one. Sorry about that.
Okay, that's great. Saver time.
It doesn't normally kick in when you're on pet. I don't know what's going on. So when I look at all these and I read through them, I'm like, okay, where does legacy systems fit? Where do you reckon legacy systems fits?
Probably in most of them.
Yeah, it sort of spreads across, doesn't it? I thought number 9 at first. I was like, oh, that's probably it.
Education.
Yeah, then.
Because I think most of them.
Yeah, because they all use software, don't they? Yeah, any organisation that's working in any of these SDGs will have software, so therefore has legacy systems. Yeah, and when you think about that, you're like, holy shit! I mean, holy poo, holy Batman. How do we use these legacy systems, or how do we minimise the waste of these legacy systems? So what I wanted to do is I thought, well, who is the best at minimising waste? Who is the best? And who here, hands up, has heard of the Toyota production system or lean manufacturing? Lean, you heard of lean? Who's heard of the lean startup? Yeah, if you're in the startup world, yeah. So lean startup and lean software development and lean everything came from what's called lean manufacturing, and lean manufacturing started at the Toyota production system, TPS. And I put a bit of a quote here. So it's a production system based on the philosophy of achieving complete elimination of all waste in pursuit of the most efficient methods. Yeah, and Toyota lives and breathes this. This is how they became so dominant in the car industry across the world. And here, the ideal conditions for making things are created when machines, facilities, and people. So it's not just about technology, it's about the facilities and it's about the people. Okay? So they've got actually part of their philosophy for the people is that a person must make it first. Yep. And once a person makes it first in Toyota, then they'll think about actually creating a machine to do what the human did. And they've been doing this for a very long time now, and that's how they've become so efficient. So it's about the humans and the bots working together to add value without generating any waste. All right, I have one last Menti for you guys. All right. When will you be undertaking a modernisation project? Okay, so we know we got them. We know they have significant impact. Yeah, but are you going to do something about it? And this is really interesting. Normally the results for this one are really interesting. Yep. Is that you? No. We're at 11. So four more.
Believe me, I'm modernising from people who have padlocks on their wallets.
Yes. Well, like I said, you work for a non-profit, a charity, so you just use Cobots. It's yours. You don't have to worry about. In fact, I'll charge you $10, like you did with the Microsoft license, just so it feels like they had to pay something. But no, the charities are fine. You guys go for it. Yeah, this is what we usually see, right? Even this is the interesting conundrum is even though we know it has impact, it does all these things, people are pretty much undecided. Oh, do we really have to do something with that legacy system? Yeah, I don't know how to solve that yet. I just wanted to show you guys that and watch this space because I'm going to inspire. I want to inspire people to go from there to there to save the planet somehow. All right, almost there. Right, one final thing. Cobots, you can sign up to Cobots today. You just go to cobots.com, fill out a few things, sends you an email, you do the email shake and then you're away and you can start going. You don't have to pay anything to use Cobots while you're prototyping the system, so you can just get on there and play with it. There's no putting the credit card up front or anything like that. If you're keen, let us know. If you've attended this evening, Kylie, I meant to mention this beforehand. If any of the attendees this evening join up in the next week, we'll organise a free coach for 2 sessions to sit down with them and help them kick off a modernisation project. No problem at all. So if you let Kylie, is that all right, Kylie, if they let you know? Yep. And then 2 sessions, we'll organise a coach for you and we'll get you started, all free of charge. Try and help the planet, something like that. Yeah, that's it. Thank you.